Yeah, we good?
Yes, sir.
All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. It's good to be back in game week, and very excited about being able to kick off the college football season. Really proud of our guys and all the work they put in throughout the off-season program. Obviously going into the summer, spring practice, summer. Here in fall camp, I thought it was very productive. I thought our guys competed at a very high level. We have a lot of guys that we've seen tremendous steps and tremendous growth, and guys that I'm excited to watch, go take another step in their career and have an opportunity to put on display, who they are, what they're all about, and ultimately continue to showcase the identity of what this Florida State football team is all about. And it's been one that's worked really hard, we got great size, speed, explosiveness, and now it's time to go kick it off, and to be able to do so, in the first game this season is definitely a tremendous honor. Having game day there, and we got a tremendous history and past with game day. Being the first on campus show, and now being their first international show. It's definitely a wonderful platform. Great stage for our guys that they've worked hard for and have earned throughout what they've been able to do and accomplish. And so we're all excited about the week ahead. We have a very important week in preparation. We're playing a very talented and experienced Georgia Tech team that I've got a lot of respect for. I think Coach Key has done a wonderful job. His coaching staff, they've really done a great job of being able to build the confidence and showcase the skills and abilities of some very talented players, throughout this last year. And you see the potential that they have as they're continuing on their ascent. And so we know it's going to be a great matchup, but for us it's all focused on the Seminoles, and that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be. You're tuned into this week. Making sure that our discipline, our details, and overall put ourselves in the best position to execute. Come Saturday. But really proud of the work that our guys have put into this point.
All right, first question will be Brendan over here on your left.
You mentioned back in, I think before spring, that this being one of the fastest and strongest, or the fastest and strongest team data-wise that you've had here. Now that you've gone through camp, is that kind of still hold?
It has. I mean, and we try to measure all metrics, of all the comparables that we can, to see the growth, to see the improvement, the size, the speed, and that's something that's held true. It's been the most explosive fall camp that we've had. The workload. I mean, the player load that our guys have poured into it. The number of top speeds that we've hit. I mean, all have been highs for our time being here. And so that's, like I tell our players, and that's a compliment to them. It's a compliment to Coach Storms, our strength conditioning, athletic training, nutrition. Everybody plays a part in that growth and development. And what I like is that I'm seeing guys that are growing in their confidence of what they're being asked to do. From a schematic aspect, the techniques, the fundamentals, to be able to showcase all of the work that they've poured into physically. So like I said, I'm excited about this group and really looking forward to seeing them. You'll be able to play and apply that there in the moment of truth.
All right, next will be Jordan, third row on your left.
Coach, I was wondering if you had an update on Alex Atkinson's suspension, and if he won't be on the sideline, what your contingency plans are.
Yeah, Alex, he will not be available there on game day. So we're going to go through a normal week of practice. We will obviously everything leading up, but on game day he will not be with us, and we've got a plan in place. We've kind of implemented the plan throughout our scrimmage opportunities here in fall camp. Alex has done a wonderful job and continues to do a great job in helping prepare our players in all things. And Coach Fertitta will kind of take over that role there on game day operation. A lot of confidence in him and what he brings and what he has brought to our program over the last few years. And it's going to be as smooth of a transition as we can have it there on game day. And like I said, we've kind of been preparing for that here these last few scrimmages, but that'll be the status.
Next will be Matt, third row on your right.
The Georgia Tech DC was at Duke last year. Do you guys kind of expect to see a similar scheme to what you saw against Duke last year? And what benefit does the team have from already playing against that?
Well, I mean, obviously, when you play against really good coaches, and I definitely think that Tyler's a really good coach, and he does a wonderful job. It'll mix their personnel. They'll be able to mix what they do schematically to the guys that they have, and so we've done a lot of studying on what they did at Duke a year ago, but we also know that when you see the amount of versatility that he can deploy, that there's a wide variety of options of what we might see. And so for us, it's making sure that we play with our eyes, we can adapt, we can adjust, we trust our rules and the things that we do against whatever scheme that might show up. But a lot of respect for him and just the job that he does. But also how he ties that to the personnel and the players that he has there at Georgia Tech. You look, I mean, they have a good number of returners, but they also have some guys that have transferred in that I think are really talented players that are joining that defense. And so I know he'll have a great plan in place as we kick it off.
Come back over here to Brendan.
With the specialists you return, kickoff returners you return, who you brought in, and then just the depth and talent of the roster, what are the expectations for special teams this season?
It's a very critical factor for us, and offensively, defensively, we've got a lot of confidence what that will be. But I think if you look at a group that has a chance to really push us forward, it is our special teams units. And with Ryan, with Alex, with you talk about the returners, you do span last year, you had a huge kickoff return there against Duke. That was one of the spark plays for us in the season. Obviously Jalen Lucas, and he brings a great dynamic. Different guys, Malik Benson, Wayne McCoy, all guys that I think can serve as really good dynamics in the return game. I think our coverage units are something that's got to be they have to be huge for us. Those are our identity type units for us, and we put a lot of time and investment into our special teams, and we want that to be one of those key focuses of this team as we're able to move forward.
Next will be Kurt, front row on your right.
You've talked a good bit this offseason about your belief that the offensive line can be a strength of this team. We saw the first depth chart. I think there are 12 guys on there, no one repeating at any spots, I guess. What's it been like seeing the transformation of that unit from when you got here to where it is now?
No, I think it's great, and I think it's a big compliment to Alex Atkins, and his staff that he has there at the offensive line. I mean, just growth, development, great evaluations, guys that have come in and worked their tails off, and really bought into what we've done. And when you look at guys that have been here, Maurice, Darius, Rob Scott, it's great getting Rob back in the mix, with all the experience that he has. I mean, those guys, they were really young, there 4 years ago, and when they had to go through some very challenging experiences, tough times, but they've grown through it, and they've stayed the course, and I think have really done a remarkable job. Guys that we've been able to bring in that have been wonderful complimentary pieces. Having JB here, last year, started every game there at the right tackle spot. KJ, who got a lot of work, and then bringing in guys like Richie and TJ, Andre Otto, I've been so very pleased with. I think our young tackles, with Lucas and Jalen. I mean, those guys, they're all pushing, and it's exciting to see that group. Bryson Estes, another guy who's been here for a long time, was limited in the beginning of fall camp, but is really coming on strong here. This last week and a half since he's been back. So I think we have as good a depth as we've had, and I think our frontline group, has really got a chance to be one of the strengths of this team.
Next will be Peter, second row on your right.
Coach, you mentioned about your depth, and you were saying in the beginning of the season that this might be the deepest team that you've been around with. Just how much of it is important for you to have it in display this coming season?
No, I think it's huge. There's a lot of competition, and obviously everybody's working to define their role. And what you do in practice, what you do in your scrimmage opportunities is kind of put you in the best position on a day in and day out basis. And the thing that I'm excited to see is as we build up to kick off there on Saturday, it's about being able to apply it in the moment. It's the greatest thing about the game of football is there's so few game opportunities that you get a chance to play. So you gotta show up with your best in that moment. And I think we're gonna have very quality depth. I think we have guys that are gonna be able to go out there and make an impact. But it's gonna come down to the discipline. It's gonna come down to the details. And with that depth, we should be able to play with a relentless style approach. You'll play in and play out, because if you do need to get a break for a couple plays, and we're going to have somebody that can bring that same type of mentality and effort, there at your spot. And so you guys are still pushing to continue to define what that is, but obviously there'll be some things that they're going to wait to Saturday to see how guys perform there in the moment.
All right, next will be Chris, front row on your left.
In your opening, you talked about guys who made big strides. Who are some of the guys that made the biggest strides for you?
I think it's been, it's a wide variety of them. I mean, I know you look at defensively. I mean, Azaria Thomas is a guy that I know has been talked a lot about, but he was one that last year was our third corner, and now has kind of jumped into that role of now being one of the starting corners. I think him and Fentrell have both done an outstanding job throughout the offseason. Really done some remarkable things. I think Cheyenne Brown is almost night and day compared to where he was a year ago in just his overall understanding and the coverage ability, the physicality, the things that he's wanted to grow in. Seeing that ownership has really been remarkable. I think when you look at the defensive front, we got great confidence in that forcing unit. But I mean, a guy like Daniel Lyons, I think, has just really come along. I really like the depth of that defensive tackle position. But Daniel's been a guy that's played these last few years, some sparingly, but I think he's really pushing himself to take another step. Linebacker position, you got guys like Blake Nicholson. DJ Lundy, who's kind of been that third linebacker that is now, probably the leader of that group, and I think he's going to be just a really dynamic player for us and what he can do. But Juice Cryer, guys like, have taken some really nice, some nice strides, for us, offensively. I think Kyle Morlock, he's a guy that I think has really got a chance to be a great weapon for us. And you look at him, where he was a year ago. He came in and played, coming from a smaller school. Was very productive in what he was asked to do. But now you see the confidence really taking it to another level. As he understands and has seen the improvements, whether it's in the route game or in the blocking game, of how he's grown. I think that he's really got a chance to be a great player for us. I think the receiver position, just as we've gone through fall camp, this last week was probably the best week we've had, just in seeing that group consistently showing up and be able to making plays and doing the little things, and you could see their confidence that's growing. And I do think we're going to have a great group that we're going to be able to run out there and be able to attack in a variety of different ways. And then you've already mentioned up front, but I mean the running back position, guys like Sam Singleton, I think has really done a wonderful job. Cam Davis, is somebody that I expect to play for us, and to be able to be a part of that running back rotation, and obviously with LT and Roydell and just that group. I mean, I think it'll be a really special unit for us. So I've been excited about a lot of guys that have kind of emerged, but it's been fun to see some of these younger guys that have been in the program that are taking those real positive steps. And you see that in the defensive backfield too, even with some of those younger corners like Quinn, Conrad Hussey. I think is taking some great strides. Brill Rawls is somebody I do think is going to be able to help us, and I'm just excited about that group.
All right, next will be back right for Aslan.
Coach, I think DJ's played in close to 50 games in his career. You've had him for over nearly 35 practices now. I guess just how familiar are you guys with each other? And as a coach, is there ever a surprise the first time you go into a game with a new starting quarterback for the first time?
I mean, yes, there are, but I mean, most times it's usually early in somebody's career. DJ has played, and like you said, a lot of football. He's played a lot of football games, and he's seen it all. He's been through highs, he's been through lows. I mean, could not be any more pleased with what I've seen. Since he got here in January, even just his growth. You go through spring practice. We probably tried to put him in some really challenging situations. Well, some of the things we wanted to see. We wanted to see him have to respond to a disappointment. We wanted to put him in the hardest looks to see, what was his decision making, how would he go, and then how would he grow from that. And I think he's just done an outstanding job, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. I'm excited to go see him, play like he's prepared. And if he does that, I mean, I think he can have a very special season. He's a great young man. He's a great leader. He's the work that he's put in, and he's got all the talent. So just tell him the same thing I've been telling him: just go out there and be himself. And we've got a lot of excitement and confidence in what that's going to be.
All right, We'll go back to Kurt, front row on your right.
I think after the second scrimmage, you talked about the health of the team being in a good spot. Some guys might be questionable going into game week. I guess, what are you able to share about the state of the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for the most part, we're probably as good as you could hope for going into a first game. I mean, we got a couple guys that'll be, kind of game time decisions. Got a few guys that missed out, but I think it's gonna be as good as what, we could probably hope for. We might have a couple guys that are limited, but right now, we'll just kind of see how it goes, more towards the end of the week before we make any I guess definite decisions on whether guys are available or not, but feel really confident about where we are going into this.
Go back to Jordan, third row on your left.
Coach, I was wondering if there was a plan in place to deal with the jet lag and the time change and kind of the long flight overseas?
We have, this has been probably the most preparation, going into a travel plan or a game that, I've ever, I mean, it's been a 1.5-year process. And, I'll tell you, for our operations staff, I mean, they've been remarkable, whether it's, Jason and our staff there in equipment, I mean, just, top notch in the preparation. Scott Truelock, Josh Chapman, I mean, our athletic training team, I mean, just the preparation, the planning, the research, obviously, Bruce Warwick and the overall operation, group with Jeff Cupper and player personnel. I mean, it's been just a full team effort, and whether, from the little things of getting everybody passports to make sure they're all ready to go, to the planning of nutrition, to our sleep habits, to what we're going to do when we get there, how we kind of broke out our schedule. There is a very specific plan in place, and I think our guys have a lot of confidence. We've got to think, just in the operational aspect of it, guys with over 20 games of international game experience of at the NFL level of what that looks like, what that needs to be, and so we feel very confident in the plan, and now we've got to go out there and execute it.
Anything else? Go back to Aslan, back right.
Pretty sure this is Tyler Santucci's first time as a defensive coordinator, so I know you were asked about it previously, but like how similar maybe was an offense when you were an assistant coach versus when you had the full reins as an offensive coordinator? How much of his past can you look at, and how much?
Well, no, he was a defensive coordinator at Duke last year, and so he did an outstanding job. In his first season of being a defensive coordinator. When you look at that defense and what they were able to do, obviously, Coach Elko was probably one of his mentors, and they've had a great tradition. But I mean, Tyler was a defensive coordinator last year, and so but we understand that as like I said, with great coaches, they're going to be able to adapt to the personnel that they have, and I think that's one thing that showed even a year ago, just the versatility and all that they could do, and so it really kind of leaves an open platter for the things that we get to prepare for.
Come back to Chris, first row on your left.
After 8 months with this bunch and 20 preseason practices, what ultimately do you think the identity is when you walk through the door in the first game?
I mean, this team's been about the work. I mean, and that's what I always desire. That you have a team that you don't have to push. I mean, these guys, you put the work in front of them and they go running after it. I really have been proud of them for their approach to it. This is not a team that sits around and complains about what's in front of them. They go and work and attack it. And I cannot wait to watch this team play. And I really am, with everything that I have, just excited about the moment and the opportunity. I like this team. I like how this team's come together. I really do respect these young men for who they are and what they're all about. And it's just like I told them, you do all the work and you build it up for it's so few games, but now you get to go put it on display. And there's going to be great moments. There's going to be challenging times in the course of every contest, but it's that response, and you can build confidence through the work that they've done in their preparation. But you get to go out there and execute it, and that's what we get to see come Saturday, and what a stage to be able to do it on.
We'll go to the back for Ryan.
Coach, obviously the game's sold out. Just scrolling through social media, there's already a ton of Seminole fans already across the pond. The marching Chiefs are going. How wonderful is that to know that even though you guys are going to be playing halfway across the world, you're going to have a very, very friendly crowd to be?
Well, I mean, it's what makes Florida State special. Our fan base is remarkable, and it's amazing. no matter if it was in the summer or out on the booster tours or, any time, I mean, the number of people that said, "Coach, we'll see you in Dublin," was it's mind blowing. And, I know just even in our conversations with the game managers of what it is and just the number of Florida State fans that are going to be there. They're traveling. Obviously the Marching Chiefs, that's so big for us. I mean, they are such a key component to what we're all about, and to be able to hear the war chant playing there at Aviva Stadium is going to be really just something special. And it's a great venue. I do need to take a moment to say that I'm just grateful for everybody in there with Aer Lingus game and the opportunity that we have. I mean, it's going to be they've done a wonderful job in their preparation, and we're looking forward to the experience. But all things that are leading up to go play our best, and I'm glad we're going to have a lot of Florida State fans there to cheer us on.
We'll go back to Aslan.
I think they ranked 128th out of 130 teams last year in the rushing defense, but obviously with the new coordinators, some new pieces, I mean, is that something that's worth considering? Is that something that just kind of flushes from year to year? How do you kind of go about piecing what you can?
It's a good question. I think when you look, college football now is so different than it's really been, in years past. And you have a new coordinator, new scheme, new maybe philosophical approach and how to improve in certain areas. But then the amount of personnel change that you can see. You look at their defensive front, linebacker, nickel. I mean, there's a lot of new bodies and new personnel that's joining the fold, and with a scheme that has been pretty good at working to stop the run. So it's gonna be a great challenge for our guys, and we're gonna have to it's what I love is you get in the first game and you might have an assumption of what somebody will do, but you got to be able to respond and react to what you see. And so it's going to be a lot of moving pieces, but like I tell our guys, you got to trust your rules and trust your eyes as you go through it, and we'll see how we get to adapt throughout the course of the game.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. I really do appreciate y'all's on flexibility of this week. So you guys have a great day.
Have a good one.